If you think a $100 million contract means the player has won and the owner has lost, then you're looking at the wrong scoreboard. Because in modern sports, the real game isn't played on the field, it's played in boardrooms, broadcast studios, and billion-dollar negotiations. Owners often win even when they hand out 9-figure checks. Tonight, we're breaking down the illusion of the $100 million deal, the hidden mechanics of sports economics, and how franchise owners keep stacking wealth while fans argue about salary caps in the comments. Picture this. A headline explodes across social media, superstar signs 5-year, $100 million contract. Fans celebrate. Critics argue the player deserves more. Commentators debate whether he's overpaid. But nobody asks, how does the owner agree and still get richer? Owners don't lose money emotionally. They calculate it structurally. That $100 million isn't a cost. It's an investment asset tied to revenue systems most fans never see. Let's start with revenue sharing and media rights. Leagues like the NFL sign broadcasting deals worth over $100 billion. That money doesn't go to players first. It flows into the league's ecosystem, distributed among owners long before a touchdown is thrown. The NBA operates similarly. Massive national TV contracts guarantee billions annually. Each franchise begins the season with a revenue cushion. This cushion dwarfs individual player contracts, ensuring owners have a strong financial base from the start. So when an NBA owner signs a player to $100 million, they are not gambling blindly. They are allocating a percentage of predictable, structured income. Salary caps are calculated as a share of basketball-related income. The system ensures owners never overpay relative to total league revenue. Even max contracts are capped by formulas protecting profitability. But that's only layer 1. Layer 2 is valuation growth. A sports franchise isn't just a team, it's a scarcity asset. There are only 30 NFL teams, only 30 NBA teams. That artificial scarcity drives valuation upward year after year. In 2000, the average NBA franchise was worth a few $100 million. Today, many are worth over $3 billion. That growth isn't accidental. It's driven by media inflation, global fan bases, and private equity interest. Look at the Dallas Cowboys, routinely ranked as the most valuable sports franchise in the world, worth billions beyond their annual profits. Or the Golden State Warriors, purchased for $450 million in 2010 and now valued in the multi-billions. Ownership equity multiplies. Here's the part fans rarely think about. Owners don't need yearly profit to win, they need long-term appreciation. If a franchise grows in value by $500 million over 5 years, while paying $100 million to a star player, the owner still netted massive gains on paper, and that gain often becomes real money when selling minority stakes or refinancing assets. And then there's the stadium factor. Stadiums are often subsidized by taxpayers. Cities compete for teams. Governments fund construction through bonds and incentives. Owners may contribute a portion, but public financing covers huge percentages. That means owners get state-of-the-art revenue machines, luxury suites, naming rights, concessions, sponsorship zones, without shouldering the full cost. Take naming rights alone. Corporations pay millions annually to put their brand on a stadium. That money doesn't go to the quarterback. It goes to ownership revenue streams. Premium seating, owners. Concert hosting rights, owners. Parking fees, owners. A $100 million contract becomes just one line item inside a multi-channel revenue empire. Now let's talk about leverage. When a star signs a massive deal, the franchise value often spikes because stars drive ticket sales, merchandise, and global visibility. A jersey with a superstar's name can generate tens of millions in sales. Even if players get a negotiated share of merchandise revenue collectively, the halo effect benefits the entire organization. Sponsors pay more, TV ratings rise, international markets open up. Think about global icons like Lionel Messi or LeBron James. When LeBron returned to Cleveland, franchise value surged. When Messi moved to Inter Miami, ticket prices exploded overnight. Owners aren't just paying for performance, they're buying global marketing engines. And here's another hidden win. Contracts are rarely as simple as the headline suggests. A $100 million deal is often spread across years, sometimes backloaded, sometimes partially guaranteed, sometimes insured against injury. Owners structure payments strategically. They also use accounting tools like depreciation. In the US, franchise owners can amortize player contracts as intangible assets for tax purposes. That means portions of those massive contracts can reduce taxable income. So, while fans see $100 million as a massive expense, owners may see tax advantages, brand growth, and predictable cost allocation. Then there's collective bargaining agreements. Players negotiate revenue splits with leagues, often around 50%. But remember, that's of defined basketball-related or football-related income. Owners negotiate what counts inside that definition, and because they control league governance structures, they maintain structural power during lockouts and labor negotiations. When disputes happen, players lose game checks immediately. Owners, typically billionaires with diversified portfolios, can wait longer. Time favors capital. Now let's zoom out further. Sports franchises are prestige assets. Owning a team grants access to elite business networks, political connections, and investment circles. It's not just about profit, it's about influence. Being an owner opens doors to partnerships in real estate, tech investments, media ventures. The team becomes a gateway asset. And while players have shorter career windows, maybe 10 to 15 years at peak earnings, ownership can last generations. Many teams pass down through families, compounding wealth across decades. Another factor fans overlook is salary cap inflation. A $100 million contract today may feel massive, but as media deals expand, caps rise. That deal becomes relatively smaller over time compared to league revenue. What looked expensive in year 1 may look like a bargain by year 4. Consider how quarterback contracts in the National Football League have escalated. What once shattered records becomes standard within 2 seasons. Owners budget with future cap growth in mind. There's also the psychological angle. A giant contract signals ambition. It tells fans, sponsors, and investors that the franchise is serious about winning. That perception itself carries monetary value. High expectations drive engagement. Engagement drives money. Now here's the paradox. Sometimes losing money on paper is still winning strategically. An owner might operate at minimal yearly profit while franchise valuation skyrockets. Why? Because sports assets are inflation-resistant cultural monopolies. There will never be 50 NFL teams. Scarcity protects value. And if the team wins championships, the multiplier effect kicks in. Championship runs spike merchandise sales, parade sponsorships, documentary deals, international brand licensing. The afterglow of success monetizes for years. Even in so-called small markets, revenue sharing mechanisms balance disparities. So when you see a $100 million signing, understand this: the owner agreed because the math works. The system was designed to make it work. But here's where it gets even deeper: control. Players, no matter how wealthy, are employees within a system owners ultimately govern. Owners approve league commissioners. Owners vote on rule changes. Owners negotiate expansion fees, which can reach billions paid by new ownership groups, and that expansion money is distributed among existing owners. Imagine that. A new franchise pays a multi-billion-dollar expansion fee. That money gets divided among current owners. A sudden capital injection unrelated to player salaries. And let's not ignore private equity's entrance into sports. Investment firms now buy minority stakes in franchises, often at soaring valuations. Owners can sell 10 to 20% stakes, cash out hundreds of millions and still retain control. Players earn massive contracts. Owners build appreciating empires. This doesn't mean players lose. Many athletes leverage wealth brilliantly, but structurally, the house tends to win. Think about it. When a player signs $100 million, that money typically comes from league revenue partly generated by fans, media networks, and sponsors. Owners helped design the revenue engine. They own the engine. And even in rare cases where a contract becomes a burden, injury, underperformance, leagues often provide insurance, trade mechanisms, or buyout structures to redistribute risk. Risk is diversified, reward is centralized, and perhaps the most important point, most owners were already billionaires before buying teams. They didn't enter sports to gamble recklessly. They entered because sports franchises behave like ultra-rare blue-chip assets with cultural power attached. A player's contract is an expense. A franchise is an appreciating empire. So the next time headlines scream about a $100 million deal, ask yourself, who really signed the better contract? The athlete with a finite career window, or the owner whose asset grows quietly year after year, whose revenue is diversified across media, real estate, sponsorship, equity sales, tax advantages, expansion fees, and scarcity economics. Because in the grand arena of professional sports, the loudest number isn't always the biggest win. The player gets the spotlight, the owner gets the system, and in systems built on scarcity, media empires, public funding, and global branding, the one who controls the framework usually wins, even when writing nine-figure checks with a smile. If you want to understand power in modern sports, don't just follow the contracts. Follow the structure. That's where the real victory lives.